When did the family who called you a failure suddenly need your help? 5 years ago, my family decided I was the biggest disappointment in the family. I wasn't a doctor like my older brother. I wasn't a lawyer like my cousin. I drove delivery trucks for a living. Every family gathering felt like an interrogation. When are you going to get a real career? You're wasting your potential. You'll never get anywhere driving around all day. My uncle especially loved humiliating me. At my grandmother's 81st birthday party, he raised a glass and laughed. At least one of us has to keep the unemployment numbers low. Everyone laughed, even my parents. That hurt the most. A year later, I stopped attending family events altogether. Nobody cared, or at least that's what they wanted me to think. What they didn't know was that I had started a small logistics company with 2 used vans and a friend from work. The first year was rough. The second year was worse. There were weeks I barely made enough money to pay rent. My family heard about my business and mocked that too. Another failed startup. Give it 6 months. He's throwing money away. But I kept going. Slowly, contracts started coming in. Then bigger contracts. Then national clients. Within 4 years, my company had grown to over 60 trucks operating across 3 states. I was finally making more money than I had ever imagined. Then disaster struck. A major factory in our town shut down unexpectedly. Hundreds of people lost their jobs overnight. One of those people was my uncle. The same uncle who had spent years calling me a loser. A month later, my phone rang. His name flashed across the screen. I almost didn't answer. Hey, he said quietly. I heard your company is hiring. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he continued. I know I haven't always treated you right. That was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever heard from him. I invited him for an interview. When he arrived, he looked 10 years older than I remembered. Gone was the arrogance. Gone was the smug smile. Life had humbled him. After the interview, he looked at me nervously. So, do I have a chance? I slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a full-time employment contract, good salary, benefits, retirement plan. His eyes filled with tears. Why would you do this after everything I said? I smiled. Because I remember exactly how it felt when people looked down on me. A week later, word spread through the family. Suddenly, everyone wanted to reconnect. My cousins started calling. My aunt wanted family dinners again. Even my parents showed up at my house with homemade food and stories about how proud they'd always been. Funny how success changes people's memories. But unlike them, I never forgot where I came from. I hired my uncle. He became one of my most reliable employees. And every time I saw him driving one of my trucks, I remembered something important. The best revenge isn't making people suffer. It's succeeding so completely that they have no choice but to respect you.